Hello everyone and welcome to another lockdown interview. I'm delighted to be joined by Casper Pedersen of Team Sunweb. Casper has a background as a track rider but has cemented his talent on the road. Riding for the Danish continental team Giant Castelli back in 2017, Casper managed to win the first stage of the Tour of Denmark with several attacks in the finish, and he finished third overall. In the same year, Casper also managed to win the Under-23 European road race title in Denmark as well. After a year with Aqua Blue Sport on the pro continental level, Casper Pedersen switched to the World Tour with Team Sunweb and has stayed there ever since. So much to discuss in a very bright future for the Dane. So without further ado, here is the interview with Casper Pedersen. Hi Casper, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. You?
Yeah, I'm good under the circumstances we're in. Whereabouts are you now, and how's this whole lockdown ordeal been affecting you?
I'm in Denmark. I went here actually in the middle of March, as it seemed the situation was a bit better here in Denmark. So I went here actually in the beginning of it all. So yeah, it's been of course not the funniest situation, but in Denmark we've been able to train outside all the time, and also been able to train with a few friends of mine who live here. So it's been okay actually.
Where are you normally based when you're not at home?
I'm based in Girona in Spain, northern Spain, and yeah, that's also an area where they were really hit by this COVID-19. So we weren't even allowed to go outside there, and we had to basically, if we were to stay there, we had to train inside every day. So it was quite a no-brainer to go to Denmark, because I'd say 3 or 2 months on the home trainer would be quite hard.
This is your second year with Sunweb. What was kind of your season, well, before this happened? What were your goals, and what are now your goals with the revised, if you know them?
Before it all happened, my plan was to do the classic, like mainly the Flemish classics, and then do the Giro, do my first Giro, and then also Tour of Denmark was actually a goal of mine, to go there and try and do really a result. Yeah, so yeah, it was turned quite upside down as the season already stopped after my last race was Kuurne. So now I also don't really know how my program will be like when we start again, because it's going to be so compromised the season, and you probably won't be able to do that many races as if we had a normal whole year to do all the races. But I still hope I can do the Giro. Yeah, that's still a big hope of mine, to go there. I'd love to do the race in Italy.
Sunweb is quite a young team, as Nico Roach, who was on here, said. How is that also with Dumoulin leaving the team? Does that mean there's more opportunity for everyone, or yeah, what's the team like?
Yeah, it is a really young team, and I actually like the way the team is focused towards the future and focused towards bringing in young guys and trying really to develop us, and without any stress, that we can develop in a really good environment with Sunweb. So for me, it's nice. I'm already almost feeling old in the team. I think next year I will be in the oldest part of the team, and I'm only just turned 24. But yeah, it's nice to be part of a young team who's hopefully gonna progress a lot, because yeah, due to the age of all the riders, that is where we also develop a lot, just physically.
How did you kind of get into cycling before this? Because you have a track background as well, and that's the rainbow jersey in the background.
Yeah, that's from when I won the Junior World Championships in Omnium on the track back in 2014. So it's already quite some time ago now. Yeah, I started playing football when I was a kid, but got a bit tired of it. So there was a local cycling club in Ballerup, it's called. Probably only Danish people know where it is, and they also have a velodrome there. So it was like perfect conditions for a kid to also get into track cycling. So I started also doing track cycling already from when I was 14 years old. I started on the track, and I was 12 years old when I started on the road, and also doing some mountain biking. But I didn't race on mountain bike, only a few local races. It was more like the road and the track I was into.
You were part of the under-23 Team Pursuit team. How was that, like traveling around to the World Cups or whatever the events are called?
Yeah, that was really nice. I was on the track squad since actually straight after junior. I went on to the elite national track team, which is mainly focused on the Olympics, and we also have like Olympic funding for that. So we had to qualify for the Olympics by doing all these World Cups across the world. And yeah, that was really nice. And that's also where I learned really a lot about how much work it takes to be a cyclist and how many travel days you have as a professional. So already as straight after junior, by being with the national track team, I was kind of educated in what it takes to make a living out of cycling. And we had really good trainers that I still sometimes in contact with. And yeah, that was just a really good team and really good place to develop for me. And also nice to just travel the world and see a lot of different places. I think, yeah, we were in every part of the world doing track World Cups and stuff. So yeah, that's the time I'm happy that I focused on that.
You're in Colombia?
Yeah, I've been to Colombia 3 times, I think, and Mexico twice, and USA and South Africa, and also Australia, New Zealand, Hong Kong, Seoul, and a lot of places in Europe as well.
You don't really get exposed to that when you're just watching you guys on TV, but how much traveling is there actually? Do you know every airport in Europe basically?
Yeah, there is quite a lot of traveling. When the season is on, it's basically every weekend I'm on a plane. But it is often the same airports actually. When we do the program in Europe, I know the route really well from Barcelona to Brussels, because that's where a lot of the Flemish classics and races are done in around Brussels, and Barcelona is the closest to where I live. So yeah, it can be quite annoying sometimes, always having to fly around, but that's part of it.
So you're part of this Danish, well, golden era in a way, with us having Mads Pedersen as the world champion, Jakob Fuglsang, the track guys with the world record there, and like I think it's 22 of you on the world tour. What's it like being part of this resurgence of Danish cycling?
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see how well all the Danish guys are doing. Also because I know quite many of those who are now having their breakthrough, because we grew up racing as kids and juniors together, and it's really also motivating to have all these Danish guys performing and having breakthroughs, because then you also get the hope that you can win big races like you see your friends are doing. Yeah, it's really cool also for Danish cycling that we get hopefully more focus on cycling as a sport in Denmark, and also more kids to start cycling and to start have a passion for cycling. Because if you get a passion for cycling, it's really a nice sport to be a part of. I've learned so much through this sport.
As a junior, you also came second in Paris-Roubaix in the junior version. Did that taste like more for you? Because it was a Danish one too. But
yeah,
do you like the cobbles, or are you more inclined to go towards the Ardennes?
I'm more towards cobbles because I'm not that well a climber or that good a climber. I like the cobbles, but you also hate the cobbles because it's pretty painful and pretty hard races. But that's also what makes them so special, that you don't win one of these races unless you are a really tough guy. So I definitely still have a big passion for a race like Paris-Roubaix, and I love to do that races on the pro scene many times. Hopefully during my career, it will hopefully be a long career, but yeah, you never know. I still have a big passion for these races.
So 2017 was kind of a year where everything just seemed to go right for you. You were cycling with Giant Castelli, which seemed like that team. If you look at that team now, a lot of you are on the world tour. How was that year for you? Because you did well in some the GP Horsens Fyn Rundt, and you even won the World Championship, the European Championships in Denmark. So what was that year like for you?
Yeah, that was a really, really crazy year for me. Almost the year before, I was full on focused on the track towards the Olympics in Rio, and yeah, I didn't have that good a year in 16, but then the next year in 17, I was just trying to put my focus on the road, and it just paid off really well. I was also less stressed because for once, I only focused on one thing in my cycling career, and I was having a really good season. The trainings were going perfectly, and I was feeling amazing at the races, and I just stepped up really, really a level. And yeah, I was able to win some races that I'm still thinking like that was pretty good level I was on to win these races. Also, staging the Tour of Denmark, that's one of the biggest moments in my career for sure. Yeah,
going through your head in that Tour of Denmark, because the commentators even said when you look back at it in Danish, of course, they were saying that you just kept attacking off the front, and they didn't believe in you, but obviously you believed in you, which was good.
Yeah, I had like really one of those days where you just felt like you would never run out of energy, and my legs were perfect that day, and I just didn't want to go and let that day slip away. So I was just trying to attack and attack and attack, because I also knew I was kind of the team I was on was a small Danish team, a very young team. So we were obviously an underdog team. So I knew the jersey I was wearing was probably one of those where they would give me just a few seconds too much before they reacted. And in the end, they also couldn't catch me back. I went solo to the finish line on the first stage. So I had a really, really good day, and my performance was really good that day. So they shouldn't have let me go. And then I was also wearing the leaders jersey for a few days in the Tour of Denmark, which still can give me goosebumps that I wore in that jersey. I would dream of doing it again for sure.
Yeah, what was the rest of the tour like? Because did you end up finishing on the podium?
Yeah, I ended up finishing third in the GC, behind Michael Valgren and Mads Pedersen. So I'd say it's fair enough to be beaten by these two guys if it has to be. So it was a really nice podium, and yeah, I was really proud of that third place. It was a strong peloton that year, so getting on the podium was a big achievement for me for sure.
So Mads Pedersen won the World Championships, but you were actually part of the team in Yorkshire. What was that dreadful day like for you?
It was at first it was a really tough day. It was raining so much they even had to cut off some of the parkour because it was literally flooded, so you weren't even able to pass somewhere. Yeah, it was crazy, but you also knew it was World Championships. It was only one day, so you had to just live with it and fight through it. And my role was to be like a protector of the team. I was in a support role and should kind of lead the team towards the laps where the last 100 and something kilometers were going to be raced. So my role was definitely in the first part of the race, and which I was fully understanding because I was also the youngest guy in the team, and my role was to go there and support. So I was really happy to be part of that team, and I also did my role. I went and positioned the team towards the laps the first time we hit the lap. But then from there, I wasn't really part of the race because the parkour and the laps, they were so hectic and raining full gas, and it was stretched out. So it was just about time when my race was over from that point on, when I had kind of reached my own finish line. So yeah, but it was crazy to see that the teamwork we had that day also paid off, and Mads Pedersen had probably the best day of his life. So he was able to also finish it off himself. That was a crazy day to be a part of.
Yeah, it was quite to watch it with Danish commentary because Rolf Sørensen, if you watch it back, there's a YouTube video of it. He predicts that he would win so far out after Mathieu van der Poel kind of exploded. But did you actually
Uh,
know anything going on because you didn't have radios on, or?
no, and I think at that point I had already been, I already dropped out. I think it was only like 40 guys who finished the race, and yeah, so I dropped out of the race and went to the bus, and there we watched it on like live stream on the telephone. And when Van der Poel he exploded and got dropped, I also started to believe in it, but it was still so surreal that you wouldn't want to jinx it by saying it, but you knew that when Mass has a day like this, then it's hard to beat him. So yeah, we were just sitting there waiting.
Classics riders at the end. Do you think it's something that because well, you're all Danish and we have so bad weather in Denmark that you're kind of tougher to these conditions?
Yeah, I think it has something to do with what you're used to riding in and what you've grown up riding in. You get a bit tough from riding in 2 degrees in rain in Denmark. So I think it's a mentality thing that you are quite familiar with this weather, and you are aware that yeah, it's shit and it's cold, but it's not gonna kill you. So you just have to stick it up and then just go. Like I think that mentality is for a lot of Danish guys. That's what makes a difference in the end. It's the mentality. I don't know if there's physical. There is probably some physical aspect of it that we are more used to dealing with cold, but I think it's also a mentality point that we know what it is because we tried it quite sometimes.
So jumping back to you, so in 2018, you signed your first pro continental contract with Aqua Blue. What was that whole team like? Because it was a very exciting team when it came, like it started with our Irish backer, and there was a few of you from Denmark on that team as well.
Yeah, it was a very interesting team and a promising team, I would say. They seemed really serious and wanting to build up like a new concept where the team should in the end be self-funded by this cycling web shop kind of marketplace where you could kind of sell your bike equipment. But that whole funding idea or goal didn't really turn out. It didn't really launch that web shop that was supposed to fund it all. So in the end, when we also didn't have so many like the wild cards that the team was hoping to get, then the owner of the team he also got tired of it, and yeah, he drew his money back and stopped the team. But at first it was really, I wasn't in doubt that I wanted to go there because we had Nicky Sørensen as the sports director, and Lasse Norman Hansen was already in the team, a guy I knew from my time on the track. And yeah, it seemed like a really serious team. They were really wanted to progress and develop the team and become bigger and bigger. So it seemed like a perfect place to me. Also, like as a stepping stone towards the World Tour to start off on the pro continental scene, so that I could still race some races that weren't like the highest level, but where I could still get some success and get my own chance once in a while. So yeah, that was actually perfect fit for me to go there.
In your year with Aqua Blue, you also did well in the Dunkirk, 4 days of Dunkirk. You mentioned before that you like the cobblestones. Was that kind of why you did so well in that race?
Yeah, actually, we didn't have so many cobblestones there. I just think I was in really good shape there, and I also had a free roll that I could go in a breakaway and try and ride my own chance there. So I think it was because I was on a really good level at that moment, and I had the opportunity to race for myself that I almost won the last stage by few centimeters because Olivier Legac he attacked with 1K to go, and I was playing poker. And we didn't catch him back. I had to open the sprint like 275 meters from the finish line to try and still be able to win the sprint in the group, but also to catch him. And he was winning with like 30 centimeters, so it was almost perfect timing. And then I was second, so I almost had my first victory there with Aqua Blue, but I didn't get it. But I won the youth jersey there, youth, and was fifth in GC. So that was also a really big moment for me that I felt like I can still keep making results even though I turned pro. Yeah, that was nice.
The bad part about Aqua Blue was that, as you said, that they folded. What was that uncertainty like? Because it was all over cycling news that you hadn't been paid or something. There was so much uncertainty with the whole team.
Yeah, there were definitely. It came quite out of the blue that they suddenly wanted to fold or suddenly withdraw. And the main reason was that the owner of the team, Rick Delaney, he was sick and tired of it, so he decided to fold the team because he was basically funding it from his own pocket, and that wasn't sustainable on the long term. And I think that's also the reason why he stopped it. But it still came like a shock, because he decided to do it on the 1st of August, and that's quite late when you are not aware that you have to look for a contract, because I was on a 2-year contract and this was in the first year. So suddenly my agent Ken Sommer, he got a bit stressed. He had to work hard for a few months there, but we in the end we did get paid through the bank guarantee from the UCI, but it was quite a process, I would say.
Fortunately, you stepped up to the World Tour with Sunweb. What was that transition like for you, going from Pro Conti to full-on World Tour?
It was nice. I'd say it was pretty nice that I also had 1 year at least on Pro Continental, because that was already a step up from Continental. So the step up to World Tour wasn't that big, but you could definitely feel that it was a bigger team. It was a bigger organization. Everything was better structured, and there was just more staff and more staff in the team to take care of every aspect that was needed to be taken care of. Like, we had chefs at the races or at the train camp, and nutritionists and trainers and sports directors, and really organized team. So it was a big change, but I also expected it, I would say, so it wasn't like a shock to me.
You also did your first Grand Tour that year. What was
Yeah,
that? What was that whole experience like? Did you learn how to like conserve energy as much as possible, or?
I was really focused on conserving energy on the days where I didn't have to use them. It was a really, really nice experience to do a Grand Tour. It was, it's super, super hard. And I also think I reached levels of fatigue that I haven't touched before. So it was really an amazing experience, actually. And I also felt good during the race. I didn't have any really bad days. Of course, I had tough days, but I was in a good shape when I started the World Tour, and I was able to do my job in the lead-out train on the days where I had to do it, and also try and go on a breakaway on the days where I had the opportunity to do that. So it was nice first Grand Tour to do the World Tour, and I was also happy to finish it. Like, finishing your first Grand Tour is special. It's a really special feeling. You feel like you've been in a bubble for a month, and you almost have been, but it's just so weird that you're getting used to this rhythm of sleeping, eating, racing, eating, sleeping. It's special.
So, thinking of Grand Tours, are you thinking about the Tour de France next year, the Grand Depart in Copenhagen?
Yeah, for sure I am. I really wanna do that. I really hope I can do it. It's up to the team in the end. It's not up to me. They have to decide what 8 guys are going there. What I can do is just try and keep developing and make myself good enough that they can't really not choose me. And the way I should do it is by developing my role as a lead-out rider, and then hopefully we go there with a sprinter, and then I can be like the best guy to do the lead-outs. That's my ambition. Um, so they not only choose me because it's the part from my home country, but also because I am worth that spot on the team.
It'll be flooded with Danish riders, no doubt.
Yeah, I hope so. It would. I think every Danish rider who's pro right now would. I think they would give away their right arm to go on that to that Tour de France start in Copenhagen. Yeah, yeah, I don't know, if I don't go there, I'll probably be really sad because it's
So,
the biggest dream I have.
what kind of rider do you see yourself as? You said lead out, but you also said you like cobblestones. Well, a rider who springs to mind is Matt Heyman.
Yeah, he's a bit taller than me, and yeah, but I see myself as a rider who can be part of the sprint train. I can also do sprints myself, but I've never really focused fully on being a sprinter myself because I know that I'm not. If I just look at power, then I'm not the like fully explosive type of rider. I am a little more endurance. So I just focused on where I can really be um, valuable to the team, and I think that's for lead outs and for classic races.
Have you done lead outs
Yeah,
for, is it Bowl and
yeah,
Matthews?
yeah. Case and Michael Matthews, and yeah, lately I've been working quite a lot together with Case Ball, because yeah, we've raced quite many races together, and also worked quite a lot together um, with how to perfect this lead out sprinting whole kind of thing. And it is quite technical, and it is quite hard to perfect it. One thing is power, but there's a lot of tactics and positioning and timing in it. And if you nail that on point, then you can really get far.
So what's it like being part of this? Because it's like since HTC Columbia started with their lead out train, but I think Cipollini had one as well. But it seems like every sprint team have their own lead out train and they try. So on the road in the Tour de France, it seems like 5 trains are going at once. Is that quite daunting with lead out man swinging off and
Yeah, yeah. I think nowadays it's necessary that you have a lead out train, because when all the other team has it, then you're already beaten if you don't have it, or at least if you don't have at least a few guys to position your sprinter, because positioning is so important, and also just protecting from this fully chaotic finals that we have. That if you are in a good position, you're also less likely to be part of a crash or to be blocked by someone braking really out of nowhere. Um, so it's really chaotic and really stressful to do these sprints, but and it's also not fun at points. It's really like you are about to shit yourself sometimes, because it goes so fast, and we are literally shoulder on shoulder pushing each other. It is like a big fight, but I think sometimes you have a goal that you want to do this lead out, so you just have to push your fear behind, or push your fear away, and just ignore the danger but focus on the goal just by doing the lead out.
and finally, final question. Who was your hero when you were growing up, cycling wise?
I think it was probably Bradley Wiggins. Yeah, I think he was quite cool also from his track background with the Olympics, his individual pursuit. But I was more I was following also CSC, the Danish team. That was kind of the team that all the Danish was cheering for. So I was also cheering for Carlos and the CSC team. Quite changing. When I was young, I was also different riders I was cheering for, depending on when they were performing, I think.
Yeah, it's annoying that Bjarne didn't have CSC now. He could have made a whole team just full of you guys.
Yeah, I also really hope that one day we will have a Danish World Tour team again. It's gonna be exciting to see what how they're gonna do with the NTT. Hopefully, they will build up a Danish team, and if they do, it would be also nice to be a part of a Danish team for me, for sure. But at the moment, I'm really happy with Sunweb, and I can see myself working with Sunweb for many years. So they still have time to build that up.
All right. Thanks very much, Casper, for your time. It's been a really interesting
You're welcome.
interview. And I'll leave all your social media details down below. So if anyone wants to follow you on Instagram and whatever else it's called now. And
Yeah,
there's also going to be a podcast version of this. So I'll leave that down below as well. So
cool.
thanks for that. And we'll look out for you in the revised calendar at the Giro as well.
Nice. I hope I get to the Giro still.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for this interview with Casper Pedersen. If you're new here to the channel, why not subscribe to not miss out on any upcoming videos? And why not check out the interview with his teammate Niklas Roach or fellow Dane Julius Johansen. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time.